Sections 23 and 24 of Shri Krishna, the Lord of Love, by Baba Premanand Bharati. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Section 23. Vaishnav, Christian of Christians. The Krishna worshipper is either a householder or a hermit. He is either a devotee who cultivates the love for Krishna amid the duties and distractions of the world, or a devotee who leaves the temptations and turmoil of the world and sojourns in some sylvan retreat in the holy forest of Vrindaban, the earthly abode of Krishna, or in the outskirts of a town or village within a humble monastery composed of a couple of huts with a little flower garden fenced around. But the most advanced Krishna hermit tarries nowhere longer than a few days, but ever roams about in the land sanctified by the touch of the lotus feet of his Lord. The formula of worship and religious rules of life practiced by both the hermit and householder are practically the same. It consists of mental and physical practices, more mental than physical. The moment the householder awakes from his sleep in the morning, he utters the name of Krishna thus: Krishna, 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 Krishna. O Krishna, 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 nourish me. Krishna, 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 protect me. I salute thee, O Krishna, give thou me thy love. Then before he leaves his bed and puts his foot upon the earth, he prays and salutes Mother Earth thus: O thou ocean-girdled, mountain-breasted goddess, I salute thee. O thou consort of Vishnu, forgive me thy suckling. O mother, this my touching thee with my feet. Then, after answering the calls of nature, and after rubbing his hands and feet with pure earth, and washing them for many times, he takes a full bath, either in the Ganges or in any river if it is nearby. If not, he bathes in a pond, or at a well, or at home with 2 or 3 large jarfuls of water. While bathing, he utters many a hymn and prayer to Krishna. After the bath, he wears a piece of dry cotton cloth which has been washed in clean water, or a piece of pure silk cloth. He then goes to a flower garden and calls some scented white flowers for Krishna, whom he then sits to worship in his sacred room. He mentally repeats for 108 times the mantram he has received from his guru, counting it on his fingers. Then he takes a few tiny leaves of the sacred tulsi plant, smears them in sandalwood paste, and closing his eyes, mentally offers them with the sacred white flowers to the lotus feet of his deity upon whom his mind is concentrated. This concentration is helped from outside by the spiritual vibrations of his sacred room and the inspiring effect of the perfume of the incense, the sandal paste, and the flowers. He then chants long prayers and hymns in Sanskrit to Krishna and his love energy, Radha, and to all the saints and great devotees of Krishna of the past, begging them for their blessings of Krishna's grace. He then sings songs of the Lord's love, and tears of ecstasy roll down his cheeks as he sings in the abandon of his devotion to the accompaniment of a pair of small cymbals he keeps striking to keep time. The mantram is composed of 3, 4, or 5 Sanskrit words, beginning with what is called the seed word, with the name of Krishna, and a dedicatory word attached to it. The seed word is the seed of Krishna love. It awakens in the heart spiritual passion. This seed word, if mentally repeated with intense concentration, bursts open the shell of the sound form of Krishna, his name, which contains the nectar of absolute love. The word Sanskrit means pure, refined. The Sanskrit language is the language of the pure, undefiled voice of nature. Hence it is called the language of the gods, who are representatives of nature's attributes. These attributes are blendings of forces. Each force has a name, sound, a form, and a quality. A man in intense pain expresses it in such sounds as "Oh, ah, ah." This "oh," or "ah," may be called the sound voice of pain. The contortions of the face, the expression of its form, and the feeling it produces is its quality. The quality is the substance of the force called pain, and its sound and sign form are its expressions. If there were a microscope powerful enough to reveal to our view the figures which sound vibrations create on ether, we would then find that the above mentioned sound expressions of pain recreate forms in ether much like the combined letters "oh" and "ah." This means that it is from the impressions of sound vibrations on ether that characters of all languages have been formed, the pictures reflecting themselves on the inventor's mind through the medium of its subtle force called inspiration. The characters Sanskrit charitra of the Sanskrit language, the parent language of all languages, are born with creation. They are entities in nature, form expressions of her forces. They are eternal and indestructible, askshara, as characters are called. The vowels are masculine forces, the consonants are feminine forces. The masculine characters, vowels, are independent, the feminine characters, consonants, are dependent. The vowels can be pronounced by themselves. The consonants can only be pronounced when united with the vowels. The vowels are the expressions of the essence of the deity, Krishna. The consonants are the expressions of the will force of the deity, Prakriti, that which procreates. Nature. Nature is born of sound, the attribute of ether, Akas, which was the first manifestation of creation. That first sound was misspelled and mispronounced in English as the vowel a, pronounced aw in Sanskrit. The initial letter of is the parent of all letters and languages. This in sound represents the distant vibrations of Krishna's flute, the music of love, while its character form in Sanskrit resembles the form of Krishna playing on his flute, as the reader will see from the little outline picture of Krishna with its background of in Sanskrit character printed on the title page of this book. This is the mystery of what Krishna himself says in the Geeta, "I am the word The different combinations of the other Sanskrit characters, forms of natural forces, called words, represent similarly pictures of sound forms of different attributes and objects. Sanskrit words, in fact, are sound shells which hold within them essences of the attributes they represent and the objects they signify. The letters K, R, I, S, H, N, A joined together form the word Krishna, which is the sound shell of the essence of love, nature's absolute attribute produced by the fusion of the forces of which the composing characters are sound forms. When frequently repeated together with the love passion seed word, its vibrations, after purifying the atmosphere of the mind, illumine in time its inner chamber of the heart, which is the door of the soul, and fills it with the ecstasy of bliss. The tulsi plant is the most spiritual plant in the world. Hence its leaf is the best medium for conveying prayers, especially when it is smeared with sandalwood paste, the perfume of which is much like the aroma of the Lord's body. But this morning worship is not all that the householder Vaishnava performs to attain to the love of Krishna. He eats or drinks nothing without first offering it through some mystic formula to Krishna, and his food is pure vegetables, his drink is pure water. In the evening he joins other Vaishnavas to talk of Krishna, hear of the sacred earthly acts of Krishna, sing of Krishna, and when the spirit of song moves him, he dances with others in ecstasy. Besides these practices, he repeats many thousand times the name of Krishna over his Tulsi rosary. In fact, he never misses any means or opportunity to keep alive an unbroken Krishna consciousness, the result of which is that he enjoys the joy of Goloka here on earth in this earthly body. He is rewarded with the foretaste of what he seeks to enjoy after he lays down his physical body. This is enjoyed by the hermit Vaishnav, who generally lives in Vrindavan in a higher degree. He is unhampered by all the disturbances and difficulties of the householder, and so he devotes every moment he breathes to the service of his Krishna. He has renounced the world and with it all its thoughts. From the earliest morning up to very late at night, he prays, chants, talks, hears, reads, sings, and dances by turns. He eats but once, and that very little, a few wee bits of unleavened bread begged from pious homes. His only world's goods are the scanty clothes on his body, his earth and water bowl, and his volume of scriptures. He has made peace with the whole world by his humility. He is nothing but blessings for all, sincere blessings, even in return for curses, and prostrates at full length, prone to the ground before every one. He follows the saying of the Lord Chaitanya that a Vaishnav should be lowlier than a blade of grass, more forbearing and charitable than a tree which spreads its shade and offers its fruits even to one who cuts down its branches, should never seek respect for himself, but pay respect even to those who are respected by none, that a Vaishnav should at all times sing of Krishna. Thousands upon thousands of such Vaishnavas, both male and female, can be found today in the holy land of Vrindavan and the holy city of Nudia, the birthplace of Chaitanya, whose Christ-like spirit and ecstatic life are unparalleled in the religious history of any other country, ancient or modern. They represent demonstrated living proofs of the power of the Lord's name upon the human mind. Section 24. Krishna Lila. This Krishna, the Lord of absolute love, the seed and soul of the universe, comes down to this earth to serve and inspire men with his love once in every manvantara, once in every 71 divine cycles, that is, once in every 300 million of our lunar years or more. Every universe of his countless universes likewise has its turn of being blessed by his visit as an incarnation, once in a long period. This universe of ours is the smallest of these universes, and its turn of Krishna's incarnation comes off during the junction period of the copper and iron ages of the 28th divine cycle of every manvantara. This being the iron age of the 28th divine cycle of this manvantara, the Lord blessed this earth with his personal presence 5,000 years ago, his birth taking place within the appointed junction period. Avatars that come to earth to save mankind and protect the good from the bad, the Srimad Bhagvat says, are innumerable. They are either partial manifestations or aspects of Vishnu, but Krishna is Lord God, Bhagavan himself, the supreme deity of whom Vishnu himself is the fourth manifestation. Nobody knows exactly when Krishna will come, for even Brahma, the operating creator, knows it not. Brahma only sees him for a second once in a long while, flashing through his meditation like a lightning flash. When Krishna came this last time on earth with this second manifestation, Sankarsana, who was born as his elder brother Balaram, the time was ripe for an incarnation of Vishnu, but as the moon and stars are covered by the effulgence of the sun, the avatar of Vishnu could not appear separately, so he was merged in Krishna. The part was swallowed by the whole. The story of the earthly career of Krishna given in the second part of this book is the story of the all-love Krishna of Braya. This all-love Krishna was the Krishna of Vrindavan, also called Braha, the land where He played and roamed where he went through his earthly career up to the age of 11, when he left Vrindaban for Mathura. The Krishna of Vrindaban is the fullest manifestation of Krishna, the fullest expression of his all-love self. Hence the Krishna of Vrindaban is called the fullest incarnation, which means all Krishna, the Krishna of all love. The Krishna of Mathura is called fuller Krishna, which means 3/4 Krishna and 1/4 Vishnu. And the Krishna of Dwaraka, half Krishna and half Vishnu, is called full incarnation of Krishna. Krishna being all love, he knows nothing but love, gives and accepts nothing but love, acts nothing but love, breathes nothing but love, speaks nothing but love. The asuras that he killed were not killed by him, but by the incarnation of Vishnu, which was within him, and his part in those actions was to send the souls of those asuras to his absolute love realm, a reward reserved for his highest lovers and devotees, a kindness for enemies which Krishna alone can feel and show. Krishna has no power even to hurt a fly, for he is nothing but love itself, and does not know anything else but love. This much can be said about Krishna's participation in these what seem to be acts of killing, that the powers of Vishnu within him that committed them found his body the most perfect medium for their operations. One word of explanation is necessary here as to who the asuras were, and how they could assume such shapes. These mentions of asuras and demons in the Hindu book prejudice the unknowing and unthinking Western minds against the veracity of Hindu historians, and incline them to think that ancient Hindu history are mixed with myths and fables. A little calm and intelligent thinking ought to correct the mistakes of such hasty judgment. Modern science, too, is daily paving the way to belief in things which even a quarter of a century ago were thought absurd and impossible. Science is proving the fact of the unlimited potentialities of the human mind. Mind force is at present the subject of all the most advanced Western scientists and philosophers. When these will succeed in discovering the laws and truths of the mental plane, as they are now doing of the material plane, no facts of Hindu history or of the histories of ancient times will strike modern man as mythical or absurd. The asuras were the psychics of the ancient times. They cultivated their mind force in order to use it for personal aggrandizement. They were yogis, but their yoga was divorced from pure spirituality, because their object was not spiritual. All they wanted was power, by which to overpower others and keep them under subjection for their own earthly benefit. Some of them were exceptions to the rule. They cultivated their sattvic powers to some extent along with the development of rajasic powers. These became great heroes in battles, and some of them made very good kings. Others developed merely rajasic and tamasic powers of the mind and became tyrants and oppressors of all good people. Wherever and whenever the earth groaned under the burden of their sins, partial incarnations of Vishnu came down to earth to destroy them and bring peace and goodwill among mankind once more. But those asuras who had only their tamasic dark mind force developed were the lowest of them all. Their minds were all dark and their deeds were all black. Their natural inclination was to do mischief to people for the sake of the mischief itself. These were called demons. These demons can be found reborn among us all in the most advanced centers of civilization, but they are now shorn of their former psychic force. The mind's natural inclination, however, is still in them. They take no external means to satisfy this inclination of killing or hurting or doing mischief for the sake of the act itself. Formerly their dark mental powers were their most potent weapons. Through these psychic powers they could transform themselves into any shape they concentrated upon, and if they failed to assume the form of a saint or god, it was because they could not grasp the idea of the personality of such pure souls with their impure minds. To assume the form of a beast was the easiest thing for them, because they were nothing but human beasts in their nature. They could also assume elemental forms too, such as a whirlwind, etc., as in Krishna Lila. The modern asuras cannot do any such thing because their mind forces are scattered and distracted. The chief cause why people generally cannot be a high yogi or a black psychic demon is the density of raja and tama that at present pervades nature, of which all beings are parts, and products, which disturbs concentration. The holding of the hill on the point of the little finger of the left hand, as Krishna did, was not a very great deed for Krishna to perform. This act can be performed by some of the lords of yoga. The yogi, when he becomes an adept inherits the partial attainment of the 8 great powers, siddhis, which are in their fully normal states in Vishnu, and in lesser degree in those who remain merged in the essence of Vishnu, and are sent therefrom to earth to serve mankind as avatars. These powers are: 1. Anima, the power of becoming as small as an atom; 2. Mahima, the power of becoming increased in size; 3. Laghima, the power of becoming as light as desired; 4. Prapti, to possess the power of the gods who are the presiding deities of the senses; 5. Prakamya, the power of enjoying and sensing all objects seen or unseen; 6. Ashita, or power over the forces of the divine will and over the lower forces of other beings; 7. Vasita, non-attachment to objects; and 8. Kamavasayata, the power of attaining all desires. Besides these, the Thai yogi may attain to 10 other powers of the cardinal attributes: 1. Cessation of hunger and thirst; 2. Hearing from a distance; 3. Seeing from a distance; 4. Moving the body with the speed of the mind; 5. Assuming any form at will; 6. Entering into any other body; 7. Dying at will; 8. Playing with celestial damsels; 9. Attaining wished for objects; 10. Power of irresistible command. 5 other minor powers are: 1. Knowledge of the present, the past, and the future; 2. Control over the opposites, such as heat and cold, joy and sorrow, etc.; 3. Knowledge of another's mind; 4. Suspending the action of fire, sun, water, poison, etc.; 5. Invincibility. These powers serve the Lord in his Leelas as humble slaves, whether he is conscious of them or not. Leela means action of God incarnate. The rash dance with the gopis is the greatest Leela of Krishna. It was the manifestation of the greatest might of his love, the might possessed by the Supreme Being alone, by the Lord of the Lords of Yoga, by the supreme source of Yoga itself. Gopi means a milkmaid, but the milkmaids of Braya were extraordinarily spiritual beings born as milkmaids to serve the Lord in his earthly Leela. The chief of the gopis is Radha, the consort of Krishna in glory and on earth. Radha means adoration or love devotion. Radha is the embodied manifestation of Krishna's love principle, the energy of his soul, the principle in Krishna which sets his love into motion. Radha is inside of Krishna as the principle of love energy, and she is outside of Krishna as the embodiment of that principle. Radha is the first active principle of nature, the active love principle which unconsciously gives birth to creation and pervades it as the purest spiritual energy. Like Krishna, she is above and out of the reach of the creative cardinal attributes. Krishna is the soul, Radha is the heart soul, and her 8 chief companions are the 8 chief devotional aspects, and the other gopis, the inclinations and minor attributes of her ensouled mind. Radha and her chief companions are Krishna's constant companions in Goloka. They came with him from glory and were born as gopis in Vrindavan. Other gopis who were in the rash dance were incarnations of Vedic hymns and truths which, as I have ere now explained in the cases of nature's attributes and forces, are entities in nature, the form centers of nature's purest sentiments and conceptions. Other gopis were incarnations of goddesses, the presiding deities of nature's spiritual forces and attributes, while others were incarnations of some of the highest illuminated male saints, rishis who had prayed for ages and ages in every birth to serve the Lord personally with the tender devotion of a loving woman. The love of these gopis for Krishna was absolutely selfless. They loved him for the sake of the spontaneous, causeless love they felt for him, and which his personality inspired in them, for Krishna was that causeless love itself. The rash dance represented the vibrations of the soul-absorbed mind, vibrations which filled the universe with the nectar of bliss and destroyed its karma of a whole kalpa, the karma which formed its prarabdha for the time. Krishna danced separately with each gopi. Each gopi had her own Krishna beside her. One Krishna became as many as there were gopis, and yet it was the selfsame Krishna. The one soul played like so many souls, with so many hearts, and yet the hearts saw but that one soul. Each gopi saw only her own Krishna, and was unconscious of any other, as she danced, absorbed in that Krishna, round and round, arms round necks, eyes into eyes, all forgetting the world forgot, round and round in the world of ecstasy, afloat on the waves of love that is bliss, round and round with that one Krishna, the all in all of the heart and existence, round and round, the lover and the loved, the little soul twining round the great soul pouring its nectar into the little soul. Ignorant writers and prudish religionists of the West have dared to call this Gopi Leela of Krishna shocking to all religious sense, in the face of the fact that 200 and odd millions of Hindus of the present day and myriads of millions of Hindus of the past, Hindus whose giant intellect and all towering height of spirituality the world of today are beginning to wonder at, call this Leela the most transcendental of all divine deeds that have ever been performed on the face of the globe. According to these little critics of the greatest avatar of the supreme deity, that supreme deity cannot possess any other sentiments of love than those of a father and a savior, that God ought not to feel or show the love of a husband for his wife or of a lover for his lady love. If this be a fact, will they answer the question as to whence has man got these sentiments, if not from his Maker, of whom he is but an imperfect image? Whence has he got them, if not from the source of creation itself, of which he is such a tiny part and product? This denial to God of the possession of a lover's sentiment implies an impertinence which God alone, out of his infinite affection for his creatures, can pardon. It only betrays the dense ignorance of these critics in regard to the origin and laws of creation, and of the relations of creation with its creator. Nature, creation, is the materialized will force of God. The will force of God is a reflection of God himself. The objectified phases of the semblance of manifoldness of the absolute one. God is the husband and the energy of his will. Nature is his wife. God is the lover, and nature is his loving lady love. By his all-pervading essence, the only support and sustenance of nature, he clasps his lady love to his bosom, and dances with her to the intricate steps of the music of her laws. This is his rash dance in the aggregate, the rash dance that is being performed every moment within nature, though hidden from our outlooking physical vision. What is true of the great universe is true also of its miniature man. Within our heart of hearts is the forest of Brindaban, in which the microscopic blue river of love, Jamna, flows, lapping with thrills of joy the bank of the bowery lawn, where Krishna, our soul, with his gopis, our ensouled mental aspirations, is performing his ever-favorite, never-ending rash dance, and we are unconscious of it all because our mind's outer ken is employed outside of us with outer objects. If we can withdraw the mind's vision from outwards and direct it into the depth of our heart, then will belief come in the rash dance of Krishna with its practical realization. We are then of Raya, and each of us of the enlightened inner eye, a dancing gopi, male or female, whatever we may be externally, it matters not. We are all gopis, human male or human female. We are all spiritually feminine, for Krishna alone is the one male, and we all particles of nature are all female. We are all the lady loves, the brides and wives of our one husband, lover, and beloved Krishna. In the working out of the ever beneficial laws of inner nature, the laws that throb for the weal of mankind, this innermost performance of nature's constant rash dance with the Lord is reflected for a time upon her outer surface to fill outer nature and mankind with the ecstasy of its supremest spirituality, the blessings of absolute love. The 12 chief boy companions of Krishna in Vrindavan came with him from glory, where they are his constant companions, while the other cowboys were the incarnations of the gods and highly spiritual saints. The Kadamba tree, under which Krishna usually played his flute, is a representation in physical form of the tree of life, and the flute's dear strains are the music of the soul. As Krishna and his companions are constant, so are his Leelas, acts constant that can be seen now by any devotee possessed of the requisite vision. With these words, I humbly introduce the reader to the nectar career of Krishna on earth embodied in the following pages. Let every reader read it with an open mind, and the nectar is sure to flow into his soul through that mind. End of section 24.